The streets of Los Angeles have seen their fair share of scandal, betrayal, and heartbreak, but what unfolded during Sheila Carter and Deacon Sharp's wedding attempt might go down as one of the most explosive collapses in the history of the bold and the beautiful. What began as a daring gesture of love became a public disaster, shaking families, shattering reputations, and exposing wounds that never truly healed. Deacon Sharp, determined to rewrite both his and Sheila's story, made a bold move. Against all warnings, despite every plea from his daughter Hope and countless others, he decided to marry Sheila Carter, a woman whose name alone sends shockwaves through the Forrester clan and beyond. To Deacon, this was more than romance. It was redemption. A statement. A battle cry. He believed that love could save the unredeemable. He believed he could save her. He organized a private wedding. A modest affair. Just a handful of guests. No media, no spotlight, but enough witnesses to make it real. At the heart of it stood Il Giardino, Deacon's pride and livelihood, transformed into a delicate, candlelit chapel where he planned to marry the woman everyone else feared. The invitations were sent quietly. Hope declined, unable to condone the union. Brooke was appalled. Steffi and Finn got word of the event, but found themselves paralyzed. Stopping the ceremony would only make them look cruel. Sheila had managed to twist public perception just enough to create the illusion of change. And interfering now would risk looking vindictive. Even Liam, ever the protector, couldn't stop it directly. But he saw the opportunity, a public gathering, an emotional crowd. He took the moment and turned it into a platform. Standing just outside the event, he spoke to press, fans, and passers-by, condemning the wedding as a farce, a performance staged by a woman who thrived on manipulation. "This isn't about love," Liam said, voice steady but burning with disgust. "It's about rewriting history. And we don't erase evil with flowers and tuxedos." Inside, Deacon stood at the altar, heart pounding. He had never looked more sincere, more hopeful. Sheila entered, clad in a white gown. The irony not lost on anyone watching. Her smile was measured, her voice soft, her every movement calibrated to seem humble and grateful. For a moment, it worked. The room held its breath. Even Finn and Steffi, watching from a distance, felt the weight of it. Could this really be happening? Was Sheila about to walk into a new life, cloaked in legitimacy? Then the doors swung open. A voice cut through the silence. Every head turned. A stranger stepped forward, eyes locked on Sheila. But she recognized them immediately. Her smile vanished. Deacon turned to her, confused. The crowd froze. The man, or woman, didn't hesitate. "I have evidence," they said, holding up a folder. Evidence of a crime Sheila Carter committed. A crime never brought to justice. Gasps rippled through the room. Sheila's breath caught. Deacon staggered back, eyes wide. The witness stepped forward, recounting an event buried deep in Sheila's past. Something never addressed by law, never seen by the Forresters. It could have been a long-lost victim, a child abandoned, a former lover silenced by fear. The testimony was detailed. The evidence damning. Photos. Records. A voice recording. The wedding dissolved in real time. Guests stood. Phones came out. Whispers turned into accusations. The officiant backed away. Sheila's mask began to crack, her carefully curated image crumbling with each word. Deacon stared at her, desperate for denial, for any sign that what he just heard was a lie. But Sheila couldn't speak. Her silence screamed louder than any confession. Deacon's world collapsed on the spot. Within minutes, the police were notified. Officers arrived outside Il Giardino. But Sheila, ever the predator in survival mode, made her move. Amid the chaos, she vanished. Disappeared into the crowd, slipping out a back entrance as law enforcement surged forward. Gone without a trace. The wedding never happened. The dream died before the vows could be exchanged. In the aftermath, Los Angeles turned against Deacon. Il Giardino, once a vibrant community hub, was boycotted overnight. No one wanted to eat at the place where Sheila Carter nearly married into legitimacy. The public turned cold. Deacon was labeled a fool, a sympathizer, a blind romantic who endangered the city for love. He spiraled, drowning in regret. Hope tried to reach him, but he withdrew. Alone. Humiliated. Broken. Meanwhile, Sheila was a fugitive once more. But this time, there was no ally waiting. No Deacon to provide cover, no one to offer shelter or excuses. She retreated into the shadows, a wounded animal cornered by the consequences of her own darkness. Her face of redemption had shattered. The mask was off. What remained was raw, unfiltered danger. But Sheila Carter is never more lethal than when she has nothing to lose. She began to move through the underground, using aliases, changing appearances, watching from the dark. She tracked her enemies, whispered promises of vengeance to herself. This wasn't over. Not for Liam, who humiliated her. Not for Steffi and Finn, who dared doubt her capacity for change. Not for Deacon, who abandoned her when she needed him most. And especially not for the stranger who emerged from the shadows of her past to expose her. Now every corner of Los Angeles felt her presence, even when unseen. Liam doubled security. Steffi kept Hayes close. Finn warned the hospital. Deacon shut himself off, locking the doors of Il Giardino as if it could keep her away, or maybe keep the world out. The wedding that was meant to mark Sheila's transformation into a woman of peace became a bloodstain on the fabric of every life she touched. And with each passing day, whispers of her return grew louder. The city waited, holding its breath, knowing that somewhere out there, Sheila was watching. And this time, she wasn't looking for love. She was looking for revenge. On the July 25th episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, the pieces on the board shift once again, pushing characters closer to long-awaited confrontations, rekindled ambitions, and shocking truths that threaten to explode. For fans who followed these characters through decades of betrayals, redemptions, and impossible romances, this episode marks a crucial tipping point, where alliances are tested and enemies blur into unexpected allies. At the heart of the storm stands Steffi Forrester, whose sharp instincts and fierce protection of her family have always made her a force to reckon with. But in a twist no one could have seen coming, Steffi delivers a startling declaration. Speaking with Liam and Bill Spencer, she acknowledges that the hero of the beach house incident, the person who helped save lives when everything was on the line, wasn't just Liam. It was Sheila Carter. "I can't believe I'm saying this," Steffi tells them, her voice heavy with tension. But there was another hero that day. Sheila. The words land like a thunderclap. Liam stares, stunned. Bill's face hardens in disbelief. But Steffi doesn't back down. She knows what she saw. And she's choosing to give Sheila something no one ever has, the benefit of the doubt. Later, when Sheila visits Liam, an appearance that would normally have security on high alert, Steffi is still there. And instead of hostility, she greets Sheila with a thank you. It's cautious, measured, but genuine. Sheila's actions at the beach house weren't calculated or manipulative. They were instinctive, brave, life-saving. And for Steffi, a woman who has survived countless traumas at Sheila's hands, to say thank you is monumental. It doesn't wipe the slate clean, but it cracks the door open, just enough to let hope Indiana. Sheila is visibly shaken by the gesture. For her, the chance to be seen, to be acknowledged not as a threat but as a mother, is everything. She clings to Steffi's words like a lifeline, daring to believe that maybe, just maybe, a real relationship with her son Finn, and even her grandson Hayes, isn't completely out of reach. But hope in this world is fragile. While Sheila dares to dream of family, Finn is diving into a mystery that could unravel the very foundation of recent events. At the hospital, Finn joins forces with Bridget Forrester to re-examine the so-called miracle that saved Liam's life. Grace Buckingham's experimental surgery, which allegedly removed an inoperable brain tumor from Liam's scan, continues to raise red flags. Finn tells Bridget point-blank, there are too many unanswered questions. None of this adds up. His concern isn't theoretical, it's rooted in science. Finn pulls up Liam's scans again, poring over every pixel, every report. Something doesn't sit right. The scans, the documentation, even the timeline, it all feels manufactured. And Finn is determined to get to the bottom of it. As Bridget joins him in the investigation, the two realize that what was hailed as a medical miracle might actually be a cover-up. The surgery doesn't follow any known methodology. The post-op imaging is suspiciously clean. And worst of all, the involvement of Grace, a doctor already surrounded by controversy, means nothing can be taken at face value. Finn's instincts scream that this isn't just bad medicine. It's deception. And he won't let it stand. Back at Forrester Creations, another storm brews. Taylor Hayes and Nick Marone find themselves entangled in a conversation that refuses to fade. The topic? Ridge and Brooke. Again. On Thursday, Nick confided in Taylor, saying he hoped Brooke's recent engagement to Ridge meant the so-called Bridge chapter was finally over. But Taylor knows better. She knows Ridge. She knows Brooke. And she knows that when it comes to those two, endings are never really endings. Still, Taylor surprises Nick. Instead of warning him off or telling him to let it go, she gives him advice. Honest advice. If you want her, she says, you have to make a move. Be bold. Be undeniable. And do it in Italy. The suggestion catches Nick off guard. But Taylor is serious. She's not being manipulative. She's just being real. If Nick wants to break the Brookridge cycle, he needs to disrupt it. And nothing says disruption like a proposal on foreign soil. Taylor even hints that a public declaration of love might be the only way to reach Brooke before Ridge pulls her back in. For Nick, the idea plants a seed. He starts imagining it, the grand gesture, the moment Brooke finally says yes to him. But time is working against him. Ridge still has a pull on Brooke's heart, and unless Nick acts soon, history may repeat itself. While love plots twist and medical truths unravel, Bill Spencer adds his own layer of drama. After hearing Steffi's shocking acknowledgement of Sheila's bravery, Bill is thrown into a whirlwind of confusion. How could Steffi, a woman whose family has been targeted, manipulated, and endangered by Sheila more than once, see her in any other light than villainy? Liam is just as confused. But Steffi isn't apologizing. She explains that while she'll never forget what Sheila has done, she can't ignore what she did that day either. People change, she says. Or maybe they don't. But sometimes, they surprise you. Sheila, for her part, isn't wasting time. She takes Steffi's cautious praise and begins to build. She reaches out to Finn again, this time with more confidence. She speaks not as a threat, but as a mother who made a choice. She tells him, I didn't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to do the right thing. That day I did. And for Finn, those words cut deep. He remembers the beach house. He remembers the fear, the chaos, the split second where Sheila could have saved herself but didn't. It doesn't erase the past. But it raises a question he never thought he'd ask. Can a monster do something good? And if so, does that make her less of a monster? But Finn's compassion has limits. As he continues to investigate Liam's medical mystery, he realizes that the truth may hurt people he loves. If the surgery was fake, or worse, if there was never a tumor at all, then Liam may have been played. Possibly by Grace. Possibly by someone with even more sinister motivations. And that truth could implicate more than just doctors. It could connect to insurance fraud, to reputational sabotage, to criminal intent. It could tear apart trust between Liam and everyone who believed in his recovery. Finn digs deeper. He tells Bridget they need to be discreet. No press. No alerts. Not yet. But he makes one thing clear. If someone's lying about this, we'll expose them. No matter who they are. As the episode barrels toward its close, tension spreads like wildfire. Steffi tells Sheila she'll never fully trust her, but she's willing to see if change is possible. Taylor encourages Nick to go all in on Brooke, even if it means facing Ridge's fury. Bridget finds herself drawn into a scandal that could damage the very name Forrester. And Finn stares at Liam's scans, realizing that the truth he's about to uncover won't just shake the hospital, it'll shake every relationship surrounding Liam. Everyone has something to lose. Sheila could lose her chance at redemption. Nick could lose Brooke again. Liam could lose credibility. Grace could lose her license. Or worse. And as Finn prepares to confront the reality hiding inside Liam's skull, one thing is certain. The ripple effects of this revelation will be felt in every corner of the bold and the beautiful. What started as a quiet moment of gratitude may ignite a chain reaction of exposed secrets, fractured trust, and impossible decisions. And this time, there may be no way to put the pieces back together.